When you think it couldn't get any worse. Hello and welcome to another Rings of Power rant. And today we're going to be looking at the new exclusive from Empire magazine about Celebrimbor, who's a major part of the Rings of Power lore within Tolkien's works. And Amazon's take on this is far from what it should be, and I'll go into detail in a bit. So let's reveal Amazon's Rings of Power Celebrimbor. So this is Celebrimbor. So if you know anything about Lord of the Rings and know anything about elves, you will know that elves are immortal and are very youthful looking and very full of, very fresh faced and very, what would you say, not very rugged. And this is Amazon's Celebrimbor, who looks nothing like an elf. Not only that, one of the things that they've completely forgotten about is Celebrimbor is actually Galadriel's, I believe, third cousin once removed, or something along them lines, which makes Celebrimbor significantly younger than Galadriel. And if you haven't already seen of Warrior Galadriel, who's the main focus of the Rings of Power series, she looks considerably younger than Celebrimbor in this series. So it seems like they don't understand the lore as pivotal as this, even though they've stated here on the Empire magazine that this is the pivotal elf Celebrimbor. They've completely not understood how elves work and how family lines work. How could you have Galadriel looking like this, looking youthful and, as they would say, young and brash and full of piss and vinegar, and then have Celebrimbor look like he's well, he's not doing so great in this picture. It doesn't look like he's got long. No offense to the character or the actor that's portraying him, but he looks very much aged compared to his older relatives. Now, I wanted to look at other pictures of Celebrimbor because obviously, you know, the Amazon TV show is going to get inspiration from somewhere, right? So let's have a look at the pictures of Celebrimbor here. So the first picture that comes up is from Weta Workshop. Weta Workshop, as we know, has done a lot with the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings trilogies, and this seems like concept from Weta of Celebrimbor, again looking youthful, you know, all in nice golden garb with a nice curved longsword there. Not looking aged and looking, as I said, ever youthful as elves will. This is Celebrimbor from the Shadow of Mordor games, sorry. Again, youthful. He's actually dead here, so he's taken kind of like a physical form here, but he's technically this within the game. But again, he reverts back to what he looked like before he got killed by Sauron. And I'll go into his story in a bit. So, this is him from the game. This is another artistic representation from Weta Workshop. This is Celebrimbor making the Rings of Power with this gentleman here is Anatar, aka Sauron, who's tricking him to make the rings and helping him out. You then have a very mighty Celebrimbor here, again making the ring. Again, youthful, doesn't look too old there either, does he? We have another artistic rendition here from ArtStation. Again, looking youthful. Another one, artistic rendition of Celebrimbor. Again, youthful, not looking aged in any way, shape or form, because, as we know, elves don't age. They get to a certain point in their lives and they kind of stay that way. Again, an artistic rendition of Celebrimbor from the Shadow of Mordor games. We have a concept or a mod for Battle for Middle-earth 2, Rise of the Witch King, which was a real-time strategy game back in the early 2000s that people loved playing. It's a fantastic game. People still play it to this day. Someone seemed to have done a mod of Celebrimbor again. Not looking too old here. It looks, again, youthful. We have another artistic rendition of Celebrimbor with Anatar, aka Sauron. So, yeah. So it seems like they didn't really do their research into who Celebrimbor is, and the matter of fact that he's an elf and wouldn't really age. So yeah, if you're wondering who Celebrimbor is basically the, as I've stated here, the pivotal character of the Rings of Power. He is the one that makes the rings, and Sauron helps him make him, and then deceives him at the end. He's got a very tragic story, and when it comes to doing a TV show about Rings of Power, you would put Celebrimbor front and centre as kind of its main protagonist, maybe, or just give him a hell of a lot of screen time, because, as I said, he's a very pivotal character in making these rings. Whereas Galadriel, who they seem to be focusing on a hell of a lot, is only kind of a bit part in that history. I've already stated this in other videos. Galadriel within the Second Age will be settling down with her husband, and especially at the time of the Rings of Power, she would be having her daughter Celebrian, and again, not really in that sort of stage of going around and being angry and brash and trying to kill people. Though this is what Amazon's Rings of Power is doing. So apart from all the other things that they've got going with the Rings of Power, with the Black Elves and the Black Dwarves and the beardless dwarf women and everything else that's causing a lot of controversy within the fandom, you have this showing that they have no clue of what they're doing. So yeah, if people still, you get people saying that you have to give it a try, it's not come out yet. Yes, I will be watching it, I will be critiquing it, but again, I don't hold out hope of it being any good in regards to a Lord of the Rings production. It looks like it's basically they don't have a clue what they're writing about, and they want to put agenda above everything else. This is why people get annoyed, is because obviously they have done that. They haven't really looked into why certain aspects of the TV show wouldn't work. But, you know, this is what we are getting. And, yeah, I look forward to the backlash of fans who literally see this and be like, how could this really contend with the original source material, as well as Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, that understood its characters, understood its story, and understood where it was coming from. So let's have a read of what the Empire magazine have to say about this, because I do want to know how they came to this conclusion of this character. So, they're saying here, for a villain you barely see, Sauron casts an incredibly long shadow over the Lord of the Rings. And not just because his tower really is very tall. He's the ultimate evil of Middle-earth, and his presence looms large in Peter Jackson's movies, even though we only ever really see him in full form in Fellowship's prologue. Elsewhere, he's mainly watching via his blazing eye from the top of Barad-dûr, while speaking through the corrupted man given extended life as the mouth of Sauron. See Return of the King Extended Edition. So, first things first, they're taking only from Peter Jackson's trilogies here. So, yeah, throughout the book, we know that Sauron is the Lord of the Rings. We get told this and everything. And that's why it kind of becomes a big, massive villain within the trilogy of books. Is that we know that he is, we get told that he's the villain. And we go through the story basically seeing what his power is doing to the world. And, with his armies of orcs and whatnot. And his influence towards the people of Middle-earth. So it seems like they don't understand that Sauron is completely different to Peter Jackson's trilogy, where, yes, we do get that backstory of Sauron at the beginning, and then he's a looming eye in Barad-dûr. Now, he's not a looming eye in the books, he's actually got a physical form. But the Peter Jackson trilogy opted to not do that because it takes away from the story, and you don't really see Sauron within the books, so therefore they tried to make a presence, so that's why they did the Blazing Eye of Barad-dûr, and it worked. People loved the Blazing Eye of Sauron. It's a big part of the Lord of the Rings lore. So let's carry on. In Prime Video's upcoming streaming series, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, the influence of Sauron will continue to be felt, and his destiny is entwined with that of Celebrimbor, a name sure to be known by Tolkien diehards. Yep. Fellowship's prologue offers some idea of what J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay's show has in store, giving a glimpse of the Second Age of Middle-earth, and here we'll see exactly how Sauron meddles with Celebrimbor, the elf responsible for the rings that spark this whole tale. We're dealing with one of the greatest villains that's ever been created in Sauron, Payne tells Empire in our world-exclusive cover story. And one of the central figures in the story is the character of Celebrimbor. He's an elven smith who was manipulated into helping create the Rings of Power. We're excited to be bringing him to Middle-earth. He's very mysterious. The character comes directly from Tolkien's extensive legendarium and has been brought to the screen before, if not so faithfully, in The Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War video games, here played by Charles Edwards. So Charles Edwards is who's playing him in Rings of Power. So there's a lot to dig in here. So the showrunners are talking about how Celebrimbor is important for the story, and how obviously Sauron manipulates him, basically telling us the story that's going to unfold. They say he's very mysterious, but obviously he's not that mysterious. We know what he does. He's a very, well-known character within, as you've already stated, within the Tolkien diehards. They also state here, if not so faithfully, in the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War video games, and yet opt to go for Old Man Willow for Celebrimbor. Now again, I have no judgment on the actor, but again, he's meant, Celebrimbor's meant to be a youthful elf. But I digress, let's carry on reading this. With the story of Sauron and Celebrimbor taking place alongside tapestry of tales involving dwarves, elves and half-elves, prepare for all of Tolkien's signature tones, high adventure, high fantasy, holy crap horror, to appear in The Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings. Doesn't skirt over the darkness, says Payne. It takes you to the steps of Cirith Ungol and the Lair of Shelob, where friends are betraying each other, and characters are being dragged into Mordor. It's a harrowing experience you go through, but in the end, there's always a star in the sky that says, keep going. We wanted to find that spirit in this series. The forging of friendships, factions, enemies, and yes, Rings is about to begin. So they're really selling this. They're really selling that they know the story. They're really selling they know what they're doing with the stories that they've got. With what we've seen so far, it doesn't seem like we're getting that on screen. So it seems like they are knowledgeable, and people have stated this, like a lot of Tolkien influencers, as you call them, have stated that the showrunners know what they're talking about. Well, we can see that's all well and good, but it's putting that down on screen. It doesn't seem to be effective, or it doesn't seem to be that's what they're telling. It seems like they're telling us one thing and then doing another. And even if they have certain aspects, like they have Celebrimbor and they do all that thing with the rings and how he gets betrayed by Sauron and whatnot, will it really be about him? Will it be his story? Only time will tell. But it doesn't seem like it, seeing as he's not really been introduced until now, and he hasn't even had screen time in regards to a trailer or anything like that. There's no promotional information about this character, who's generally what the Rings of Power should be about, and not really about Galadriel, warrior princess. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Are you excited for this TV series? Do you think it's going to be an absolute catastrophe? I will be watching it and seeing what it's about. If you did like this video, please leave a like. Consider subscribing for more videos, and I'll catch you on the next one.